Greetings. This is your girl Elisha coming to you for another one of my videos where I'm just going to kind of talk out my thoughts and stuff like that. I am in the car on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, and I'm just kind of having a dinner alone here in my car. I enjoy that type of time with myself and stuff like that. But I'm just here, and I'm also reading a book by David Shands. And if you don't follow his podcast and you're an entrepreneur or just looking for inspiration, check out his podcast. It's called Sleep Is for Suckers. It's on YouTube. You can find him, Sleep Is for Suckers, on Instagram and everything like that. But anyway, I ordered this book maybe a few weeks ago and stuff, and today is just one of those days. So I just felt like I just picked it up and I just said, let me go ahead and start reading it. His podcast is like amazing, so if you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's a really great podcast. He has a lot of great guests on there and everything like that. So just I'm into chapter 3. I've just started chapter 3 on the book, but I knew based on just how his podcast is and everything like that this was going to be a good read and an easy read, and one that I'm looking forward to reading. And it's also kind of smooth too, you know. So I'm sitting here and I'm reading, and I got through chapter 2, and boy, it just struck up something in me. He had met a guy who had, a couple of things that happened to him. He had started a job, and the person who was training him on the job he was like, how long had you been there? And they told him, oh, I've been here 3 years. And he was like, ooh, no way would I be at this job for 3 years, right? Like, whew, And so, come to find out, he had been at the job for 6 years. It flew by. And then he happened to be at a restaurant, and he ran into a guy, an older gentleman, while they was at the gym, and they were just having small talk while they were waiting on some biscuits to be served or some fresh biscuits to be replaced. And the guy had told him, somehow they got on the conversation, the guy had told him he just retired and he had been working a job for 40 years and everything like that. And he was like, wow, he was just intrigued, like, how could you have been somewhere for 40 years, And the guy was just like, you get into a comfortable routine and the time just slips by. And I know for me, when I thought about that, I was like, oh my goodness, this has, been most of my life, most of the jobs that I've had, my goal was never to be there forever. I've always, me personally, Elisha, I've always had, a notion. I always wanted to do my own thing. I've always wanted to build me some type of empire. I never had no plan, no blueprint, no how am I going to do this, what it's going to be, or anything like that. I just knew in my heart of hearts, anywhere that I've worked, I don't plan on retiring here. I don't plan on being here for any period of time. And no different from the guy in the book who wrote the book, and no different from the guy who retired after 40 years. It was just like time slips away. And I know for me personally, time has slipped away in several jobs. And lucky for me, a lot of jobs had downsized or got rid of or, laid you off or whatever, got bought out, whatever the case may be. And that has caused me each and every time to have to do my own thing because of that. And I was just really blown back when he said the 40 years, and I just think about every job I've been there, the time just slips away and you just don't think about it because you're in such a routine about the thing. And I'll never forget the first job I ever had. I was 18 years old. Now, before I was 18, I was always doing some type of thing like baking cookies, sewing. I was always doing some kind of creative, selling something. So in this particular instance, my dad, I had got me a job at the fabric store, and I was working at Hancock Fabrics. And boy, oh boy, my first day on the job, I was so happy because I had finally landed a job, even though I made little monies, doing my own thing. But I had finally landed an official job, and I was working at the Hancock Fabrics, and I worked a total of 4 hours on my first shift. And I'll never forget, my dad picked me up from work, and And when I got in the car, I mean, I was exhausted after those 4 hours. I was exhausted because I'm like, oh, Lord, this is a lot. And it's boring. And I didn't like it, you know? And I'll never forget, my dad looked at me and he said, Kassan, and he called me by my middle name. That's my middle name, Kassan. He was like, Kassan, you'll be doing this for the next 50 years. 50 years? What? This? Work? What? Oh, no. Really, when he told me that, man, it depressed me immediately. What? 50 years? Oh, no. I couldn't hardly get by 4 hours. Not 8 hours, 4. At the fabric store. Which fabric and crafts and stuff is something I love, but I just wasn't feeling that. So my dad told me that, and immediately my spirit, it didn't agree with me at all. At all. So it wasn't a good, I'm going to say about 10 years later, I'll never forget. I was working for a company, and at this time I was living in Atlanta. The fabric store was when I lived in Ohio at home, in my hometown of Ohio, Springfield, Ohio. So anyway, it was 10 years later, and I'll never forget, I got laid off from my job. Got laid off because the company got bought out and everything like that. So got laid off from my job, and I'll never forget, you know, they gave us a severance package, bonuses. I think I got stock options, all kinds of stuff. And I never forget, when I got all of that, I took a break. I took a break from working and everything, and I was thinking to myself, and my dad had passed on since then. I was like, yeah, this was 10 years into me working and stuff, and I was just thinking to myself, if my dad was only here so I can let him know that I'm taking a break. It's been 10 years since he told me I'll be doing this for the next 50. It's 10 years. And I just remember taking a break and just having that money, being able to support myself and my family and everything like that. But my spirit has always been to be free and flexible, and never, you know, I just never wanted to be in that box. You know, my spirit has never wanted me to be in that box. That's just who I've been. And every time I read about something like that, so reading this just struck it back in, it just came right back in who I am. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's how I feel all the time. I mean, there hasn't ever been a place that I was like, oh, I'm just about to retire from here. Never. So I just needed to come on and just talk about my story, talk about this story. Now, I don't know how this story going to end up. I don't know what twist and turn. Well, there's been plenty of twists and turns. I could just tell you that right now. There's been plenty of twists and turns and stuff like that. But you know what? Count me in. Count me in, because I am still going for it. I am still building this empire. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it's going to look like at the end, but I'm still building. So anyway, stay encouraged. So if you building and your spirit got you, you know, just want to do something, just stay in that. Stay in there. Stay uplifted. Stay motivated. Surround yourself with people who can keep you motivated, keep yourself motivated, listen and put in the right things in your mind, read decent books, continue to just motivate yourself and stay encouraged. So at any rate, I will be back again one day to tell more of my story. But until then, your girl, y'all stay tuned, because as always, there's more to come. There is so much more to come. I will talk to you.